Hello everyone and welcome to New 26 for this week. Yes. AppleJack's episodes. Well, most of them have been hit or miss throughout the years, and most of them are misses because of the character in question herself, from Super Cider saying she didn't learn anything to some of her lesser known episodes, not really expanding on her character. That is, except for the perfect pair. The comics have done a better job than the show, as giving Applejack depth, but depth does not mean dimension. She is still a very one-dimensional, one-note character. She is Southern, she works on a farm, she has an accent, she loves her family. That's Applejack in a paragraph. And it hasn't changed since season 1. There's no depth to her. What you see is what you get. Unlike the rest of the cast that is totally three-dimensional. Going to Seed is another AppleJack Appleboom episode. And we all remember last time what happened when these two were paired up in an episode. Some pony to watch over me. An episode in which Applejack was way too much of a helicopter parent. You know, the one where Appleboom thinks she's a big girl and he is kinda, that episode. Way back a couple years ago. Thankfully, going to Seed is not as painful to watch. For the most part. 2/3 of the episode are delightful, charming, heartwarming, and cute. But the first third of it, not so cute. Mainly because of Applejack's signature stubbornness. Now the moral, to keep track with what we do here, is about you're never too old to be young. Good moral, especially on the backs of episodes like Granny's Gone Wild. Now, this moral could also be contested as you're only as old as you feel. And if we use the librarian from a few episodes ago, this is a nice little episodic moral connection we have here. Now, when Applejack was younger, she would hear stories of the great seedling, who happens to be, it looks like a deer, perhaps Prince Aspen from the comics? But in any event, these stories would talk about a legendary deer, that if you caught it, you got great harvest for life. Every tree ripe. Every tree full of apples to buck. Endlessly, no matter what the temperature and no matter what the weather. And young fillies of the apple family would try to catch this mythical beast through any amount of traps. It's Appleboom's turn to go do this during the confluence. Every 100 moons, there's a great bountiful apple harvest at the farm, and there's a lot of work to be done. Work that AppleJack wants done, with Bloom's assistance, and also the return of Golden Delicious from Pinky Apple Pie, cats included. But when Apple Bloom hears of the story of the seedling, she goes after it, Home Alone style. And in the first third, AppleJack ain't having none of it. She wants her to work to get the farm debugged. Think of this as a updated Applebuck season in terms of the setup here. But when strange symbols start appearing in the apple orchard through cleverly organized apples, the two apple sisters actually decide to work together. You see, AppleJack in the first third absolutely doesn't believe that there's anything going on here, which you could not set up to classic stubbornness. But in the second third of the episode, she decides to make compromise with Apple Bloom. Apple Bloom does work on the farm, and she gets to set traps. But after it happens a second time, with even further tracks, AppleJack is reinvigorated with the youth of her fooleydom and decides to team up with her sister to finally catch the mythical beast, setting up traps together in a delightful montage, even doing a nightly stakeout out to try to capture it. And this is really the first time in the series that we see the two sisters not only enjoying time together, but bonding. We even get a short little flashback of AppleJack chasing after the seedling herself, and we also see her parents in this flashback as well, which is a nice callback. She fell into one of the traps, and after she fell into her own trap and stayed down in a pit all day, she was absolutely convinced never to do this again. But here she is, doing it again, and having fun with it. It turns out, though, no mythical deer, which is sad. I really would have loved the payoff of actually seeing the creature myself. If it would have been, yes, the ending would have been predictable, but it would have been heartwarming and sweet that both of the sisters, past and present, finally get their due by working together and compromising work and play time, which is really, really hard to do. And what's even harder to do is when you get older, you lose connections to the things that make you feel young. We often get so wrapped up in what we're doing, how we're doing it, what kind of money it's making, or whatever the case may be. We get so wrapped up, we forget to have fun. We forget that delightful child exuberance, that willingness to imagine things, to still believe in mythological creatures and other things and superheroes. We lose sense of it. But it's in reconnecting with our youth that we become somewhat reinvigorated, albeit temporarily sometimes. But it's that reinvigoration of knowing that yes, even adults like us have playtime that can sometimes make the work time more bearable, no matter how much work needs to be done. And it's in that sisterly connection that we finally really see in this episode that strengthens the episode past its normal AppleJacky stubborn first third. We finally get to see AppleJack do something we don't often see her do. Lighten up a bit. Yes, is it something as silly as Big Mac has been sleepwalking through the night, which causes the trails? Yes, but come on. Despite this ending and despite this solution, the fact that you see the two Apple sisters, Jack and Bloom, working together and having fun together and understanding each other's roles and compromising and enjoying something together is a heartwarming thing. And it even pseudo brings the Apple family, well, part of it, together in this notion. And that's a little bit of fun depth, but sadly lacks the payoff to make it truly heartwarming. Sure, AppleJack episodes have had their ups and downs through this crazy show of ours, but this one, thankfully, is a big up. And considering Sweet and Smoky last week, we needed a fun slice of life that I think everybody can enjoy. Yes, AppleJack's stubborn attitude can be rough in the first third, but trust me, it gets heartwarming from there. And here I thought I was going to cry, which, no, but I have a feeling that next week I just might. I can look at this episode as preparation for what's to come. But as for Going to Seed, this episode gets a 5 out of 6. And yes, it got a 5 barely. But the strong, heartwarming moral, the Apple sisters working together and actually compromising between work and play, and seeing a side of AppleJack we rarely, if ever, see the character do, having fun, plus a delightful flashback and an even more understanding moral brings this episode near the top and saves us from going on a 2-week losing streak. We're back up into the highs. But next week's episode, The Last Crusade, might be the most emotional episode ever. I know a few things. I have not seen a few things, but I know a few things. hopefully I can keep the tears in my eyes and out of my face. But we'll talk about that next week. Until then, which, by the way, next week also marks the 10th anniversary of this channel. I can't believe it. I've got some things planned, but know that this is definitely going to be a thing. Until next week, I'm Nirvana Sparkle. Find peace in your own Nirvana, and thanks for watching, subscribing, hitting the bell, and liking. I really appreciate it. See you next week.